You are listening to The Manual with Mike Sheridan. The opinions expressed here are purely that of the individuals in question and can sometimes be of an adult nature.
Jack Whitehall, thanks so much for coming into The Manual. I know you like this man cave area. You were just commenting there. It's a corner of an office, but sure, look, we have to embrace the cheapness a little bit. Obviously, you're in town to promote Bad Education, the movie. And this is obviously a labour of love for you because you've written and produced it. Comedians seem to make more money from touring though, so you're obviously not doing it for the money. You're doing it because
they definitely won't make any money out of this film. But it's something that I'm very proud of, and it's taken a long time to do. I mean, from the moment we started writing it to going onto the screen, it's been pretty non-stop, and I've been very involved at every stage. So it's really quite nerve-wracking seeing it go up into all the cinemas.
But you've got a director as well who worked on the show with you a few times and has got a hell of a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Even with US TV, so that must have been a bit more confident to have somebody who kind of knows the trials and tribulations of the show.
He's so good, Elliot, and I think the most important thing is having a director that's good at working with a writer performer in a sort of collaborative way, and he's just brilliant for all of that, and he's really receptive to ideas. And things can change when you're on set, and when you rehearse something you can find a funnier way of doing it, and you can completely rip up what was there on the page. And especially because I'm writing it, I can change stuff quite quickly and quite last minute, and he's amazing at accommodating that and making sure that he covers it nicely. And it's a good fluid system that we have going. I mean, we've only done one film, so
we've done 3 seasons of the show though.
Yeah, well, he did 1 season and then went to America.
Hit it big in the States.
Because I think he was so tired of my antics on set, maybe. But then he felt like he could come back and try it again. But we get on very well.
So what's the process like when you're writing for a movie or writing for a TV show, and when you write material? Do you still sit down? Do you lock yourself away from 9 to 5? Do you allocate time to go and do it?
Well, you sit down and you allocate time more so than you would do with stand-up. With stand-up, it's very hard to sit down and say, right, today I'm going to write 10 minutes of material about literally anything. Whereas with the film script, it is more regimented. You do sit down and have office hours, and it's a little bit more normalised, I think.
Just to move on to A League of Their Own, obviously you were saying Jamie Redknapp was on Soccer AM this morning.
Yeah.
James Corden's gone over to the US, and he's flying in the US at the moment.
Yeah.
He's kind of ostensibly taken that Graham Norton format of the 3 people on the couch.
Yeah.
How do you think James is doing over there, and have you been in contact with him since he went over?
Yeah, James is doing great, and I have been in contact with him. We've filmed another series of League of Their Own, so I'm really, really proud of him, and happy that he's doing so well out there. It's weird, when we wrote this film, like, one of the main thing financiers say and people involved in the money side of it is, can you make something that has an appeal to America? Can you build in some characters maybe that are American, or pick a story that is universal enough for it to maybe sell over in America? And I'd say we've failed on that front in quite a catastrophic way, because this film has literally no appeal to an American audience whatsoever. You've
seen before though with the In-Betweeners that whether it's a big hit in America or not, these films can still make a hell of a lot of money and still do really well at the box office.
And I quite like that. I think there's something quite refreshing about something that's not been made in that cynical way, and it's not been made to try and appeal to the American market, and we've just tried to make it as as funny as we can, and make the film that we wanted to go and see as writers. But there's some quite niche references in there that I don't think are going to fly. And
were they planned, or were they were the majority of them on the spot on set? Like, obviously you're a comedian, you improvise.
Yeah.
And can the guys bounce off you well too?
Yeah, well, you go through, and there's moments where you do go through the script, you mark up these things where you're like, is this a reference that people are going to get? And then you have to have a discussion, and there's some that you let fly, there's some that you go, you know what, only a handful of people are going to get this. Like, we did one screening of it very early on with just a couple of people from the production and stuff that had been involved in the development of it, and there was a shot which is just a direct shot that we'd taken from The Wicker Man and slipped in, and there was 2 people that laughed. But for me, those two laughs were enough, because it was a throwaway.
Yeah.
There's also a very niche reference to Takeshi's Castle, which I don't think many people are gonna get. But
So
it's there. It's a little treat for people that do.
So when the movie comes out, are you gonna go and maybe see it with an audience and sneak in? I mean, we had the guys from The Hangover over when the movie first came out here a couple of years ago, and it was really interesting to see them do it. They did a Q&A in front of the audience and everything else.
Yeah.
The movie just opened at the top of the US box office. Like, Bradley Cooper wasn't who he is now, but it was interesting to watch Todd Phillips and all these guys stand at the back of the cinema and watch the audience reactions. Do you think that's something you'll do when the movie comes out?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's strange because as a stand-up, you're used to the immediacy of doing a joke and there being a response, and you can gauge it so quickly. Whereas with a film, it takes a lot longer until you've put it in front of an audience and you see whether they like it or not. So that's going to be my opportunity to find out whether it's funny. So yeah, I'll definitely be sneaking into the cinemas.
And speaking of
doing Q&As.
Doing Q&As, so people might find you at the end, yeah.
I'm just going to stand at the front. Right, has anyone got any questions before we start this?
You were mentioning there before, you've come over here a bunch and you've played the Laughter Lounge. You've obviously toured extensively all over the place and been back and forth to Ireland. How different are the crowds? Because I know you've done Montreal, you've done Edinburgh, you've done all the festivals too. Are you the type of comedian that likes to build, or do you like to come out with your heavy hitters? Do you like to come out with your ones that you know are going to kill off the bat?
Yeah. No, I love playing in Dublin. It's a really great place, and the crowds are great. And even when they get rowdy, they're quite like self-policed rowdy. I think there's always someone to turn around and point out if someone's being a dick.
Yeah.
So I quite like that. And yeah, I played Laughter Lounge, stayed in a flat that was literally just down the road from your offices here.
So you must.
I got locked out and had to throw a brick through the window, which wasn't great. It cost me my whole fee to have the window fixed. But I needed to get to the airport. So
were you here for a while? Like, were you staying in? Were you not when you were renting an apartment, or you were just here for the weekend?
Weekends? Yeah.
Right, okay.
And then I came and did Vicar Street as well. So yeah, I like doing gigs over here.
So the press tours must be nothing to you at this stage. You're a touring comedian.
Yeah, I know.
You're used to like that kind of solitary existence of gig, sleep, move, gig, sleep.
My life is a lonely one. It's just nice to have your company.
Smouldering, Jack, smouldering. And you were saying there as well that obviously Arsenal. I know this is going to be gone out soon, but you're a big Arsenal supporter.
Yeah. Well, we've recorded this just before the.
We've just recorded. Game, so
it's if this goes out after that, then it was a great victory for the opening day of the season. And West Ham are not going to beat us.
But you were saying you've rearranged your flights so you can get back and watch the game. You're obviously a crazy West Ham fan.
Yeah, there is Alan Davis. Notoriously, people say that he has it written into all his contracts that he can have every day off for an Arsenal game. He makes sure that he can go to all of those, and I don't know whether it's true, but if it is, that's a great way to approach your work to make sure that there is always time to go and watch Arsenal.
So it's always a bit of crack then on set on something like League of Your Own when all the former footballers or the current footballers come on, and that back and forth, it seems so natural.
Yeah.
I don't think you can script that. So do these people know beforehand, if you have any of the current Premier League players on, are you like, look, the piss is going to be taken here?
Yeah,
just go with it.
They're all very good. They're all very good natured about getting stick. Although I did once take Matt Horn, who plays Fraser in Bad Education. He's a big Tottenham fan, and I'm a big Arsenal fan. And so I took him to the Emirates once. And somebody spotted him, and because of Gavin and Stacey, and he was always wearing the Tottenham shirt, it's quite well known that he's a Tottenham fan, and they all started chanting F off Gavlar. All of the Arsenal fans around him.
You can curse,
and I was sort of geeing them
yeah,
but he had to leave at half time.
Really?
Yeah. had to leave the stadium and didn't get to see Arsenal.
He was getting that much abuse.
Tottenham again. He was getting that much abuse. Genuinely, he was there, and they were all chanting "fuck off, Gavlar." So he had to leave the stadium, and I felt really bad. I didn't feel that bad. I mean, I had started it.
And obviously, you're very recognisable as well. So when you go to these games, how did the Arsenal fans react to you?
Yeah, the Arsenal fans are fine. I would never go to White Hart Lane, and not in a million years, because I would not feel safe there. I also happen to sit, another Bad Education connection, Harry Enfield is a big Arsenal fan, and I sit very close to him just through sheer coincidence. So I often see Harry at the Arsenal games. So
as well. If anybody's going to get stick, it's going to be him that's getting the stick.
Yeah, Harry can take it.
Placing yourself just next to him.
It's a big comedy fraternity at Arsenal. You've got Dara, Harry, me, Alan Davis, Ian Stone, lots of comedians. And you did
that stand up in the sky.
You need a sense of humour to support us.
Yeah, absolutely. But you did that stand up in the sky with Dara O'Brien. You obviously know Dara pretty well. You know, how's the relationship with Dara, and how long have you actually known each other?
Yeah, I've known him for a while. That gig, the highest gig ever.
That was insane.
Yeah, well, it's not highest. We should say the altitude was the highest. I'm sure there's other.
It's like a Joe Rogan gig. Yeah, it's something else entirely.
But yeah, no, that was weird. That was I think someone's now broken it. They did it on I can't remember, another airline. Probably not Ryanair. I doubt the Ryanair planes can get to that altitude.
I don't think that goes high.
But no, yeah, that was an interesting experience.
And you and Dara are still quite friendly?
Yeah, I like Dara. He's great. He's a very funny man, and he's doing about 5 months in Vickers Street, isn't he?
He's insanely big. But we love Dara O'Brien here because we feel like he's the guy that we can send over to the UK and get him to do Jonathan Ross and get him to do all these shows and be like, he's our representative.
Yeah.
You know, because he's so smart and he's so funny smart, as well. Yeah. Obviously, you're still a fairly young guy, like disconcertingly, depressingly young for somebody my age. So are there comedians or maybe filmmakers when you were making Bad Education, or comedians or a style of comedy that you were looking at that inspired you, or that maybe made you want to get on stage or pick up the pen?
Yeah, I think with the Bad Education film, I was trying to make the film that I'd want to go and see when I was 17, 18 years old, and it really is that. You know, it's a big action adventure romp, and it's got these crazy set pieces, but then it goes somewhere quite different, and it is, if anything, it is an action adventure film. You know, it borrows a lot from films like Indiana Jones, Predator, Die Hard. Like those, I would say, are my three main influences. Because
there's a scene in the trailer, and I'd love to know how you did this. I don't know whether you want to give it away or not, but somebody pulls down your pants, and you have to then go on
a zip wire.
On a zip wire. Yeah. So how did that? Well,
we went to the Eden Project, which is where it's set, and there's the longest zip wire in Europe, and we thought, and how funny it would be if you were holding onto that and someone debagged you and pushed you down. So then we did it, but then to do it, we basically just had to shoot it for real. Like I had to go down it 5 times with my pants around my ankles, and on I'd say the 4th or 5th one, the wind changed, and I was stuck in the middle of the zip wire with my pants around my ankles, dangling with my arse out. And because we didn't have enough money, because it was a British film, to close down the whole of the Eden Project, it meant that there was still quite a lot of like tourist groups and schools on viewing platforms and stuff looking up and seeing my dangling pasty arse.
How did this not end up on Twitter?
I know. I genuinely thought, well, that's going to go everywhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe one of the production went and smashed their cameras or did something, because it has not appeared yet. But you can see it, obviously, if you go and see the film, if that appeals. I don't know whether that's a great way of selling it. You can see my pasty arse if you go and watch it.
And I saw you tweet there the other day recently as well. Obviously, you've an amazing relationship with your father, and you've done shows with him before, and I know you've done stand-up with him before too. How has that relationship evolved as you've both kind of become famous? I saw you tweet about somebody sending him over around the shot. Stuff like that must be amazing.
Yeah, it's funny, and now people recognise him, and now that I've encouraged that to happen, more people are doing it, so they see.
Is this to annoy him, or is this more?
Oh, totally, to wind him up. Yeah, it's quite funny though when he calls me up. He's like, "Someone sent me over another drink. Please, can you call up the internet and erase whatever it is that you wrote, because I'm not happy about it." So. Yeah, I actively encourage anyone that if they do see my father to send over anything, drinks.
Does he drink them? Is he too polite so he actually does drink them, does he?
No, he would never go anywhere near tequila. Yeah.
It's a bit too old school. Yeah. Coming up next, obviously, you're getting into the acting, you've done the writing, you're producing the show, you've done 3 seasons, film's coming out. Regardless of how the film does, can you see yourself going and being a job an actor and doing that stuff in the US as well? Because as we mentioned at the top there's more money in touring probably, and that's guaranteed money because you can sell tickets.
But I do find it I find it very satisfying and creating a character and acting, and I love that side of my life. So I'd definitely like to do more of that, and so I'm going to take some time off, I think, from stand up probably, and take the leap and just be unemployed and going up for jobs and auditioning and stuff.
That must be pretty scary because people, if anybody in the US doesn't know who you are, and I've done Ellen and stuff before.
Yeah.
But if anybody in the US doesn't know who you are and they look you up on Twitter and they're like, oh, he's got like 4.5 million Twitter followers, he's obviously pretty famous.
Yeah.
To have to go in and be, kind of going from the ground up, but you're more than willing to do that.
Well, but it's quite good, and I think even with acting, you go in from the ground up, and what I've done in stand-up or however many Twitter followers I might have, that doesn't really mean anything. As soon as I go into an audition, I'm the same as the next person sat in the waiting room, and there's something quite refreshing about that, because you're just being judged on how well you tape, how well you do the audition, and so at the moment I'm quite optimistic about it. Maybe in 6 months' time, when I haven't got any work, I'll be like, fuck this,
I'm coming back. Yeah,
have me back.
But it'd be great to have that option, and maybe even to go and do the Comedy Cellar or something like that, or if you're in New York or do Caroline's or something, to be able to go out there and kind of still keep yourself sharp too.
Oh no, I probably will continue to do that, and I do like dropping it and doing gigs here and there, and you get very rusty very quickly, so it's important to keep doing it.
And speaking of the acting, you've got a very famous bit on Robert Pattinson. It's one of your most famous bits, that you went to school with Robert Pattinson. I've interviewed him a couple of times. He's a lovely guy.
He is a lovely guy.
He's a really, really nice guy. Has he seen the bit?
I think he's aware of it.
Yeah. Have you gotten any feedback from it, or?
No, I suspect he's probably not that happy, but I hope he can see that it's a joke.
Yeah, I'm sure
and
he
that
can.
The joke is on me. But he's a very nice man, and that makes it all the worse.
He had a terrifying existence, like for many, many years there. So he's probably just like a deer in the headlights, and he's probably only coming up for air now.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, no. I don't know. I'd probably say sorry if I saw him.
I think he'd forgive you. He seems like an amiable.
I'm sure he's not that worried about it. He's doing okay.
And as we tape this now, finally, as we tape this now, you're going in to do Miriam tonight. So you're going to do the Miriam Makeba show tonight. Yeah. I'm assuming you've looked Miriam up.
30 children.
Something like that. Yeah. Something kind of intense.
The figure keeps going up. I arrived yesterday at about 7 a.m. and I told someone I was doing Miriam, and they went, "Oh, she has five children," and then the next person said she has 7 children, and then the next person said she had 12 children. It just kept going up and up and up as the day went. I don't know whether she was popping them out during the day, but by the end of the day it was 25. So I guess by this morning it's now 30. And by the time I get to the studio it's 45. She's a very fertile woman.
She is. She's one of the most, I would say, loved women. Would we agree? One of the most loved women in Ireland. We had a straw poll in the office one day, a verbal straw poll, obviously.
Yeah.
And we all reckon she's going to be the president of Ireland one day.
Really?
Yeah. So you can say you were on the president of Ireland.
You're going to be the president.
You're going to be the president.
Wow.
Ask her about. Start turning around on her, Jack. Start quizzing her.
Is she like Ireland's Mary Berry?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like, she's very well loved.
The mother of the nation.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Like, and she's also extremely hot cougar as well, which helps.
Is she?
With certain elements, yeah.
Oh, wow.
You're excited now, I can tell before.
Fertile, hot, cougar-like, motherly. She sounds perfect.
She does.
She really does sound perfect.
We'll be tuning in tonight anyway to have a look at that. Jack Whitehall, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.